NBA Elite 100, how close is Luka Doncic to supplanting Nikola Jokic? The NBA Elite 100 was released on Wednesday, with Action Network NBA analysts Matt Moore and Brandon Anderson breaking down their 100 most impactful players for the 2024-25 NBA season. The pair also discussed their rankings on a recent episode of Buckets, Action Network's NBA podcast, and debated a variety of topics, including how close their number 2 player, Luka Doncic, was to overtaking their number 1 player, Nikola Jokic. NBA Elite 100, ranking the 100 best players in the NBA for the 2024-25 season. Brandon Anderson, we know how good these guys are, so my question for you is how close for you was the 1 versus 2, and what would Luka have to do to pass Jokic by the end of the season? Matt Moore, I wrote a column after Luka won the Western Conference Finals that said that Luka would be considered the best in the world. It aged like milk, but I was very careful with how I worded the column for this reason. The idea was that, because of what he accomplished, he would be considered the best player in the world. What I really didn't give people enough credit for was that even with how amazing Doncic was, they would all still agree that the best player in the world is Jokic. I do think that the difference here is pretty razor thin and that I don't think Jokic has been lucky in any regard, but I do think that he has had a fortunate stretch of outcomes. Like last season, he won his 3rd MVP, and there were a lot of areas I could point to where he's a little worse than he used to be, at the rim shooting being a kind of key one. His floater was otherworldly, but his at-rim stuff wasn't as good and his three-point shot full off. The offense honestly is kind of stale at this point and they need to reinvigorate it, and that's on coaching. But it's also on Jokes because he's just going through the motions like a lot of players do when they get to be this good at basketball.